The 28 hells of Hindu cosmology, realms of suffering and redemption. In the vast and intricate web of Hindu cosmology, beyond the material world and hidden in the depths of Patala, lie the 28 Narakas, the hellish realms of suffering, which serve as places where the soul undergoes purification before its next birth. These are not eternal damnations, rather temporary realms of retribution, where the consequences of one's actions, karma, are met with precise and fitting punishments. These 28 narakas are described in several Hindu scriptures, including the Bhagavata Purana, Agni Purana, Garuda Purana, Vishnu Purana, Vedas, Upanishads, Manusmriti, among other texts, and are not limited to only 28. Additional sources list multiple hells. The 28 discussed here today can be found in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Each realm is uniquely horrifying, designed to reflect the nature of the sins committed by the soul. Those who commit acts of violence, deceit, greed, or cruelty find themselves subjected to tortures that mirror their wrongdoings. Whether it's drowning in rivers of blood, being devoured by demonic hounds, or impaled on flaming spears, each punishment is a direct consequence of one's misdeeds. But before we continue exploring the terrifying depths of the naraka, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any deep dives into esoteric wisdom and ancient mysteries. Now, let's descend into the underworld. Hell can be found in between the three worlds, in the south below the earth, and a little above the casual waters below Patala. For more information on Patala, you can check this video below. Presiding over these shadowy domains is Yama, the god of death and justice. He's also known as Dharma, Lord of Righteousness. Yama is tasked with maintaining the cosmic balance by ensuring that every soul receives its due rewards and punishments. His kingdom, Yamaloka, is the gateway to the afterlife, where souls are judged based on their earthly deeds. Assisting him in this divine judgment is Chitragupta, the celestial scribe and record keeper of karma. Every thought, word, and action of a being is meticulously recorded in his Agrasandhanī, eternal register. When a soul arrives at Yama's court, Chitragupta presents a detailed account of its past life, determining whether it will ascend to Svarga, the heavens, return to the earthly realm, or descend into naraka, hells, for purification. Unlike the Christian or Islamic concept of an eternal hell, naraka is a transitory realm, where sinners suffer until their karmic debts are repaid, after which they're reborn into the cycle of samsara, reincarnation, sometimes even being reborn into a lower form of existence to continue its karmic journey. Thus, these realms are not only about suffering, but also about cosmic justice and moral realignment. Some believe that naraka exists in unseen astral planes, where others interpret it as a psychological suffering one undergoes due to guilt and unresolved karma. Despite what we believe, these texts leave us with a mystery to unravel. So let's have a look at the 28 narakas and their descriptions. Each naraka is associated with specific sins and punishments, which is briefly described. Number 1, Tamisra, darkness. Sin, anyone who steals someone else's money, wife, or children. Punishment, they're thrown into blinding darkness and suffer extreme torment, being deprived of food and water and left starving, while being beaten with sticks and yelled at by the Yamadutas, the agents of Yama. The pain and punishment can be so unbearable that they may even lose consciousness from sheer agony. After regaining consciousness, they're beaten again. This continues until the karmic debt is paid. Number 2, Andhatamisra, blind darkness. Sin, Anyone who slyly cheats someone to gain their money, wife, children, or possessions. Punishment. The sinful living being is subjected to extreme miseries and pain, so much that he loses intelligence and sight, becoming blind and being similar to a tree cut down by its roots. Number 3, Raurava, torment of the wicked. Sin, committing violent or cruel acts against many living entities. Punishment. These living entities are transformed into animals called rurus that torture and inflict great pain on this sinful living being. Number 4, Maharaurava, greater torment. Sin, a person who maintains his own body by hurting others. Punishment. He is put into this hell and is devoured by flesh-eating animals called kravyadas. Number 5, Kumbhipaka, the hell of the cooking pot or boiling in oil. Sin, killing or harming animals for pleasure and cooking poor land or sea animals alive. Punishment. These living beings are thrown into a large pot and are boiled in hot oil. Number 6, Kalasutra, hot wire hell. Sin, anyone who kills a Brahmin. Punishment, the sinful living being is thrown into a hell, which the surface is made of copper. Heated from below from fire and from above by the scorching sun, the copper surface of this planet is extremely hot. He is burned internally from hunger and thirst, and externally from heat. He is sometimes sitting or lying down or having to run here and there for the duration of as many thousands of years as there are hairs on the body of an animal. Number 7, Asipatravana, forest of swords. Sin, a person unnecessarily deviated from the path of self-realization and yielded to hypocrisy. Punishment, he is beat with whips and he runs all around trying to flee from extreme pain, but on all sides he runs into two-edged razor-sharp palm leaves and his body is cut to shreds. Number 8, Sukaramukha, crushing jaws. Sin, anyone in this life who is a politician or a king or a servant of the king or government representative inflicts punishment upon an innocent man or a Brahmin. Punishment, being crushed alive until he faints, as the most powerful assistants of Yamaraj crush him exactly as one crushes sugarcane to squeeze out the juice. Number 9, Andhakupa, well of darkness. Sin, harming animals, insects, birds, or lower forms of life that are unaware that they do harm to humans. Punishment, anyone that does ill will to a lower form of life, such as animals, wild beasts, birds, snakes, mosquitoes, lice, worms, and flies, or whatever others, or any lower form with inferior bodies, will be bound in the darkness and be persecuted, hurt, and disturbed by those animals everywhere and will wander around not being able to find a place to rest. Number 10, Krimibhojana, worm food. Sin, anyone who eats but does not share food or neglects offering some food as a sacrifice to the gods, needy, animals, wise, and ancestors. Punishment, he is thrown into a lake of worms and becomes a worm himself, to eat and be eaten by other worms. Number 11, Sandamsa, tongs hell. Sin, anyone who steals gold, gems, or valuables from a Brahmin or others through theft or violence without any justification commits a grave offense of greed and dishonesty. Punishment, after death they are sent to Sandamsa, the tongs hell, where Yamaraj's enforcers force them to hold red-hot iron balls and then tear off their skin with burning tongs, making them suffer for their greed and wrongdoing. Number 12, Taptasurmi, burning pillars. Sin, any man or woman who engages in illicit sexual relations, disregarding moral and legal boundaries, indulging in desires that lead to dishonor and wrongdoing. Punishment. After death, they are sent to Taptasurmi, the hell of the red-hot iron statue, where they are whipped and forced to embrace a burning hot iron figure, a man for woman and a woman for man, suffering unbearable pain as a consequence of their actions. Number 13, Vajrakantaka Salmali, thorny tree torture. Sin, anyone who engages in indiscriminate and immoral sexual relations, including acts against nature, violates fundamental ethical and spiritual principles. Punishment. After death, they are sent to Vajrakantaka Salmali, the hell of the thunderbolt thorn cotton tree, where they are hung on razor-sharp thorns and pulled down repeatedly, suffering excruciating pain as a retribution for their actions. Number 14, Vaitarani, river of filth. Sin. Those who were born into royalty or government positions but abused their power, ignored their duties as rulers, and acted unjustly. They broke the rules of righteousness, Dharma, and will, after death, end up in Vaitarani, the river of torment. Punishment. As a result, they fall into a river filled with filth, stool, urine, pus, blood, hair, nails, bones, marrow, flesh, and fat, where ferocious animals attack and devour them. Their sins keep them from dying easily, forcing them to remain conscious and suffer endlessly while being reminded of their misdeeds. Number 15, Poyodaka, well of putrid water. Sin, people who abandon cleanliness, self-discipline, and good behavior, living shamelessly like animals, and who have violated the principles of a regulated life. Punishment. After death, they are condemned to Poyodaka, the hell of fetid waters, where they are submerged in an ocean filled with pus, excrement, urine, mucus, and saliva, forced to survive only on the most disgusting substances. Number 16, Pranaroda, torture chamber. Sin, those who belong to the Brahminical order but keep dogs or donkeys and take pleasure in hunting animals, violating sacred rules, act against their Dharma. Punishment. After death, they are sent to Pranaroda, the hell of suppression of breath, where Yamaraj's men hunt them down and pierce them with arrows, making them suffer as they once made innocent animals suffer. Number 17, Visasana, slaughterhouse. Sin, those who, driven by pride in their wealth and status, kill animals in sacrifices merely to showcase their prestige, violate the principles of compassion and righteousness. Punishment. After death, they are cast into Visasana, the hell of sleeplessness, where Yamaraj's helpers torment them relentlessly and cut them into pieces, forcing them to endure the suffering they inflicted on innocent creatures. Number 18, Lalabaksha, molten metal feast. Sin, a man of the higher classes who, overcome by lust, forces his wife of the same caste to drink his semen against moral and spiritual principles. Punishment. As a result of this sin, he will be condemned to Lalabaksha, the hell of semen for food, where he will be thrown into a river of semen and forced to drink it himself. Number 19, Saramayadana, hounds of hell. Sin, those who, as thieves, commit arson, use poison, or plunder villages, along with corrupt merchants, rulers, and officials who support such crimes, betray justice and morality. Punishment. After death, they are sent to Saramayadana, the hell of the dog's meal, where they are torn apart and devoured by 720 ferocious, sharp-toothed dogs under the command of the Yamadutas. Number 20, Abhisimat, no escape. Sin, a person who lies or gives false testimony in business, charity, or other matters, deceives others and acts dishonestly, breaks oath, or betrays. Punishment. After death, they are cast into Abhisimat, the hell of having no water, where they are thrown headfirst from the top of a mountain 100 yojanas high. Upon hitting the arid, stone-covered ground, their body shatters, but they do not die. Instead, they are dragged back to the top and thrown down again in an endless cycle of suffering. Number 21, Ayapana, iron drink. Sin, a Brahmin or his wife who drinks somarasa improperly, or a ruler or merchant who, despite taking a vow, consumes alcohol in delusion, violates sacred duties and self-discipline. Punishment. After death, they are condemned to Ayapana, the hell of drinking iron, where they are pinned down with a foot on their chest and have molten iron poured into their mouths as punishment for their transgression. Number 22, Sarakadharma, swamp of slime. Sin, a person of low birth or degraded character who, out of false pride, fails to show respect to those of higher birth, wisdom, virtue, and discipline, disregards the natural order and principles of humility. Punishment. After death, they are cast head first into Sarakardama, the hell of the pool of acrid mud, where they endure excruciating torment in its burning, corrosive filth. Number 23, Raktaksha, blood lake. Sin, men who sacrifice other people in worship of Kali, and women who consume human flesh commit acts of extreme violence and cruelty, violating the fundamental laws of morality and compassion. Punishment. After death, they are condemned to Rakshogana Bhojana, the hell of being the food of the devil, where they are slaughtered like animals by fierce Rakshasas, who cut them to pieces, drink their blood, and celebrate their suffering just as the sinners once did themselves. Number 24, Shulaprota, impaled on spikes. Sin, those who deceive innocent animals by making them feel safe, only to harm them for entertainment, whether by piercing their bodies, restraining them, or tormenting them, inflict unnecessarily cruelty on helpless creatures. Punishment. After death, they are sent to Shulaprota, the hell of pierced by the pike, where their own bodies are impaled and restrained in the same way. Starving and thirsty, they are relentlessly attacked by sharp-beaked birds like herons and vultures, suffering the same agony they once inflicted. Number 25, Dandasuka, serpent torture. Sin, men who, like venomous snakes, harm others without reason, acting out of sheer malice and cruelty, cause unnecessary suffering in the world. Punishment. After death, they are sent to Dandasuka, the hell of the cudgel in return, where 5 and 7-hooded serpents rise before them and devour them like mice, making them experience the same fear and pain they inflicted on others. Number 26, Avata Nirodhana, to be thrown in the dark. Sin, someone who in this life confines living beings either in blind wells, in granaries, or in caves. Punishment. They will likewise in their next life be forced to enter the same places, to be locked up there with poisonous fumes, fire, and smoke. Number 27, Paryavartana, turned to ash. Sin, a householder who, instead of welcoming guests with kindness, greets them with anger and hostility, glaring at them as if to burn them with his eyes, fails in his duty of hospitality and compassion. Punishment. After death, they are sent to Pariyavartana, the hell of the eyes plucked, where herons, vultures, and crows mercilessly tear out their eyes with their powerful beaks, making them suffer the consequences of their sinful gaze. Number 28. Sukaramukha, needle mouth. Sin. Those who out of greed and selfishness view others with suspicion, obsess over their wealth, and hoard money without joy, acting like evil spirits guarding treasure, live in constant fear of loss, and refuse to share their fortune. Punishment. After death, they are condemned to Sukaramukha, the hell of the pin first, where Yamaraj's enforcers, like expert weavers, pierce and stitch their limbs together with needles and thread, tormenting them for their greed and miserliness. So this is a brief description of the 28 Narakas as per the Srimad Bhagavatam. Additional key scriptural sources that you can find regarding this information: Bhagavata Purana, Canto 5, Chapter 26. These are the most detailed descriptions of hells. The Garuda Purana, chapters 3.3 to 3.15, which talks about karmic consequences and afterlife punishments. Mahabharata, which mentions different realms of hell. The Manusmriti, chapter 4.87 to 90, talks about moral conduct and naraka. And the Vishnu Purana, book 2, chapter 6, which talks about hells as part of Yama's judgment. Final thoughts. Some believe these narakas are literal, physical places where souls undergo punishment before rebirth. Others see them as symbolic realms, representing deep states of suffering experienced in the human mind due to karma. The debate continues, inviting spiritual seekers to explore their own truth. Are these realms real, or are they metaphors for suffering? Could a naraka be closer than we think, and would you survive? We'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Thanks, and don't forget to share this video.